My name is Melinda Hoover, and I was born and raised here in Jacksonville, Florida. I do childcare. That is my profession. Apparently that's what God's gifted me in, and I got out of it for a little bit, but I'm back in doing that, and I love children, and now I have a child of my own, and God has blessed me, so here I am. My faith journey. I have actually been in church my whole life. My parents were kind of in and out, but even as I got older, when they weren't attending church, I continued. I would get rides from, other people, and I loved church. It was always a safe place, and it was always a breath of fresh air, from just life and the things that were going on at home, family problems and arguments and whatever, And so I've always just had a love for God ever since I was a kid. And as I got older, life happened, and I had, my good times, my bad times, and I tried to be a good Christian, and I tried to serve God. And in high school, I was on fire for God. I was, and I did the Bible study group, and then I went on to Bible college. And as soon as I returned here to Jacksonville, I found Teen Challenge Ministry Institute, and which is a huge part of my faith journey, So I spent a year there. It was kind of a vocational Bible college, and I did it. I finished it, I graduated, but then the door opened for Philippine Teen Challenge. The man that came over that was running it said, if you want to see another cultural experience of Teen Challenge, you're welcome to come. So within 3 months, because I had always wanted to go overseas, I always wanted to travel. I love missions, I love supporting missionaries, and within 3 months I had the funds to not only buy the plane tickets to go, but the monthly support to be over there. And literally I'd never flown in my life. I jumped on a plane, actually several planes, and went all the way to the other side of the world. And they had an orphanage. I helped with the drug rehab part, and then they put me in charge of teaching the kids. So I was there for 6 months, lived in the culture. There was no, lavish hotel room. It was the same day-to-day routine. You wash your clothes by hand, and no hot water. 6 months, no hot water. I cried over that. Lots of fish and rice, and just being with the people, though. It was every day. That was your life, was just to minister to the people that were there. And we did street ministry with the kids. They live in tarps and tin roof houses, and I loved it, though. I absolutely loved it. And I love being around people of other nationalities and other races and cultures, and just, I just, for some reason, I love people. I just love people, and so that is part of my faith, is that God has, and it's for all of us, God has called us to minister to other people. And so if we're stuck in this circle, of just our friends, our family, our church, then you're not really showing the love of Christ, because he traveled. And so I came back to the States. That's where I feel like my faith journey kind of got off path. There was no availabilities, to work for Teen Challenge, and I didn't have a rooted, grounded church home. And so I was kind of like being tossed on the waves, and I felt a little bit lost, and I didn't know where to go next and what to do. But God was still guiding me. I went into working in preschools and childcare. So I've been doing that for, almost like 10 years now. But in the midst of that, I was going to church, but I was living in sin, America, and just the things that we do on a daily basis we don't even think about. But I thought, I'm a Christian, I go to church every Sunday. And then I met my husband at his job, and he wasn't a Christian, and I had, a few red flags, but I chose to ignore them. I thought being married would make me happy. I had this void. I wasn't sure where to go or what to do. And so he started attending church with me, And so while we were dating, we were in church, but we were living in sin, and not a good way to start a marriage. And so we stayed in church. We did it, all through our dating. We got married, and then the first year of our marriage. And then after that, it was kind of the things of the world just pulled us away. And then neither of us being in church, our marriage just kept going further and further downhill, which broke my heart because I don't believe in divorce, and I never saw myself as being one of those people, I'm gonna meet my husband, we're gonna go to church together. I had this, I call it, actually I told somebody this before, I call it the Disney fantasy, but it's the church fantasy. You have this ideal dream of marriage, and it's, we go to church together and everything's just perfect, and it's the fairy tale Christian marriage, and that was not what I had. And as time went on, both of us were having, issues with keeping jobs, and God wasn't in the middle of it, so of course everything was falling apart around us. And the longer we were married, the worse things got, And then I got pregnant. We'd been wanting a child, and I'm praying, and so I got pregnant with my beautiful daughter, Mindy, and it was 5 years of marriage. And then after she came, it just got even worse. Now we have a kid, and we're still struggling. And then all the emotional stuff, and he had a bit of a temper and an anger problem, but usually he took it out on everybody else. And he got, though, after my daughter came along, to where he was taking his anger and aggression out on me. It never got to the point of he was being severely abusive, but I wasn't gonna let it get to that point. And so we did have one altercation, and I said, I have a child. I don't want her to grow up in this kind of an environment. And secondly, I knew that God needed to be the center of it. I wanted, all my life, I knew if I ever had kids, if God was to bless me, that I wanted them to grow up in a godly home. I wanted them to know Jesus as I knew Jesus. And that was one thing I could not leave out of her life. And so I made it definite. I have to get back into this. The only way my life's gonna get back on track, our marriage is gonna get back on track, I have to get back with God, and so I did. I made it a thing to go to church, and my husband, of course, wanted to tag along, which was fine, okay, but I didn't think he was really, his heart wasn't in it like mine was, and but it was crazy because they were watching a video sermon that night, this random church that I picked to go to, on what was it, toxic relationships and controlling people. And so it was kind of crazy, but I through that, I think we needed a break in our marriage. We at least needed to separate and get ourselves straight with God. So I took that as one of my cues. I connected with other people, and I actually went to, I don't know if anybody's heard of it, Hubbard House here in Jacksonville, Florida. I was there for 2 months with my daughter. After that, all the doors just started opening. I got an apartment. I got everything, just people were just started giving me stuff to help me out. And then within a couple of months, I had a brand new job, making more money full time, so proving myself faithful in the little bit that I had. God has just really blessed me. And then I found this church. And so this the church here and the people, it's such a family atmosphere, and it was everything I was looking for in a church, and just other Christian believers who just have such a love for Jesus, that it shows in the way they treat other people. And I've been in churches where it was just empty. I just was there. I was lost in the crowd. I didn't feel like anybody cared. But I came here and it was and I was like, this is what church is supposed to be. This is what I've been looking for. It's the family of Christ. We are a family. This is our brothers and sisters, and so now, here I am. This is my faith journey. This is where God has brought me to. And as far as my marriage, I still pray for my husband. I'm not sure. I know that God can work miracles. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm trying to contact him, but he's not responding, so I don't know if he's even receiving my messages. But I still pray for him, and even if he doesn't receive what I'm saying, he's everywhere, and so he could be working on him, as I speak. And so I still have faith. I have faith, and I believe that would be an even huger testimony for God to actually get a hold of him where he's at, and to turn his life around and then bring us back together. That would be just absolutely amazing. But I've had to make up in my heart and my mind that even if that didn't happen, I will always serve. I'll always serve Christ. I'll always love him first, and I will raise my daughter in the Christian home that whether it's a single parent home or us being together, she's gonna be raised the way that she should be raised, to love Christ. That tradition of knowing the values and the morals that come with being a Christian and following him. And so here I am. Who knows what's next in my faith journey? Maybe I'll go back overseas in a couple years, but right now it's just showing the love of God and accepting it also, and just being happy, just loving life, there's just so much I can't even. So yeah, that would be my faith journey. So for me, baptism, which is funny because of my circumstances and everything that's going on, has changed. For me, it's a marriage ceremony. It's going back to my first love, starting over, starting fresh, redoing the honeymoon. It's just kind of, and knowing that Jesus, he never left me, he never forsake me. God was chasing me the whole time, and he was calling me, and I always felt that in my spirit. And I prayed, and there was times where even though I know I wasn't serving him like I should have been, I still believe that he was guiding my steps, and he was still protecting me, and he was still looking over me. And I know that things actually could have been a lot worse if it weren't for God keeping me. So for me, this time, baptism, I'm viewing it as a marriage ceremony. This is me getting back to the first love that I had and just making that profession. Like, I can't get on the rooftop and shout it out, for everybody. So I'm getting baptized as my profession of love for Christ, so that's what baptism means for me. Come here, you come here. That's right, my little cute guy. Yeah. You gonna take that out? Mwah.